All right, this is Scott Joseph with Move.Crush.count. We are down here at the MOPAR Service and Parts Conference, and today I am here with special guest Ben Rexrode. He's with the Carter-Myers Automotive Group, and that's Virginia, correct?
That is Virginia, yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. I love what you're doing. You're sitting here saying, all right, we're selling a lot of used. How do we get a lift to make sure a higher percentage of our used buyers start using our service department?
Yes.
I think that's got to be a big focus for a lot of stores right now because the majority of people are selling more used cars than new.
Has to be, just because they don't have the new cars to sell.
Correct.
Yes.
So you run a major risk 6 months, 12 months down the road when it's due for some of these used cars that we're selling are due to come back in and get some type of preventative maintenance or regular scheduled maintenance, because there is no new car warranty. The perception may not be, especially if you're not into this independent repair guy, which is the majority once people go out of warranty.
It is.
The majority of the business we lose goes to independent repair.
Yes.
Right?
A lot of people, though, are seeing these vehicles so complex, even an oil change now, getting the specific oil, the right air and oil filters, fuel filter if applicable, those certain things that they've learned from the mom and pop shops and some of the issues they've experienced, people using recycled oil that they shouldn't be and that kind of thing, and then voiding their warranty or long term they see effects of it down the road.
Yeah. No,
yes.
I want to know, do you guys put anything in place? Do you have a system or process that's different? Are you guys doing anything that's like, well, one of the things that really works for us is we're doing this, this, and this has helped retain more clients in the backside.
Right. I think it comes down to the old saying, treat the customers you want to be treated, build that trust factor, make the experience a good one, no matter whether they're coming in to just chat with you, to get parts. Don't always just try to sell the customer. Make that friendship, build that relationship, and it'll come in time.
I can tell just in my conversations with Scott and yourself, and I can see other things, and your dealership and your group has an outstanding reputation.
Thank you.
But it really, when I say that, there's a lot of reasons people in the business could say you have a great reputation. Oh, they make a lot of money, or they sell a lot of cars. But when I say that, there seems to be a genuine or a sincere interest in treating the customer right, and almost like you do approach it like a client versus a transactional customer situation.
We do. Our company's saying is moving lives forward, whether it be with our employees, with our customers, helping them provide transportation, plus our philanthropy efforts, what we give back to communities, and everything that we live and work in is another great thing that we do.
All right, so now I'm going to ask you at least one very uncomfortable question.
Okay.
But you have to answer it.
Okay.
All right. So let's say you were tasked with opening the exact same type of store across the street from you.
Yes.
All right? And your only goal that you had to do, the reason you were hired, the reason you opened that store, was to put your current store out of business.
Right.
How would you do it?
Well, you would need better people than I have. And we have some of the best people in the automotive industry, I will tell you. We're an ESOP company, and that would be very, very hard to compete with in the long heritage of over 100 years in business.
Yeah. So you've got great relationships with people in the community.
Yes.
And that's what type of community involvement do you guys do?
We actually right now we're doing a huge bike drive at all our dealerships that give back to their local Salvation Army or local Toys for Tots, that kind of thing. We're huge into United Way, where some of us are on the boards at the Votex and everything. We give back to the communities we work in.
This bike drive.
Yes.
Are you assembling them?
We're assembling them then in the dealership.
So you're setting up a line.
We are.
Like a manufacturing.
Like my dealership has over 60 in it to load up later this week.
This is awesome.
You think about wheels. We're all about wheels in the business.
All right, so you mentioned people, but I'm not letting you just end with that. That's too easy of an answer.
Yeah.
All right, so whether it's from marketing, maybe a product or service that you're not, I want you to take off the hat and assume anything's possible.
Sure.
In an ideal world, right now I know that you guys, we're all dealing with, well, I need a tool for this, I got a tool that does this, I got a tool that does this. Obviously, if we had one tool that did everything, that would be nice, but
yes.
you know, that doesn't exist. But so if you had to do a process, or if there was a product that you could offer, what would you do? Or even a marketing situation, what would you do to put that store across the street out of business?
Right. So, you know, that would be tough. So you'd have to assemble a team.
Nobody ever wants to answer this because they don't want to give their competitor.
You'd have to assemble a team of experts. You'd have to ship vehicles all over the U.S.
So let me ask you, when COVID hit,
Yes.
you had to make adjustments, obviously, especially, and let's just talk in service.
Yes.
Prior to COVID, were you picking up and dropping off?
Yes, we were.
So you were already set for this?
We were already set for that. We already had loaners in place. I mean, before we heard the word COVID, it was customer service in our eyes at the end of the day. A lot of our employees pick up and drop off their cars. Salespeople want to be the one point contact for everything automotive.
What I love about that, it goes back to the difference between a customer and a client.
Yes.
Right? A salesperson that sells a customer looks at it as, I just need to get this sale. I'm moving on to the next one.
Right.
And what I love about your salespeople dropping off cars, taking the cars back to the customer at their home or wherever, making it more, it makes it, obviously it saves the customer time and energy and effort, but it continues the relationship. All of a sudden the salesperson and the client understand that this wasn't a transactional situation.
Yes.
It's a way to demonstrate.
It's a great thing you bring up relationship. We track relationship versus transactional sales in all our salespeople. So we do that weekly, and our top salespeople are almost 100% relationship sales based.
That's awesome.
They never go out on the lot and take ups. They've built the brand, they've built their own business within a business.
It's always amazing when you hear, and now we'll shift to the front of the store real quick because you brought this up.
Yes.
All the best salespeople rarely taken up.
Correct. Yes. Word of mouth.
Correct.
Yes. Word of mouth travels so well. Referrals, you know, taking care of that customer.
Well, they've created their own identity within the store, right?
Absolutely.
Their own brand image.
Helping people out, that you're giving back, that you're picking up people's vehicles.
Do you guys encourage a lot of social activity with your employees?
We do, absolutely. Our top salespeople have max of 5,000 friends, and they go through, you know, every 3 or 4 months and look at the algorithm, who's interacting, and then move their friends around and get more friends.
Yeah.
They're always posting. The top salespeople are very successful from social media.
Very nice.
And Scott pushes that and has taught us that more than anyone.
He's very active.
He is very, very active,
Yeah.
yes.
And if you don't know, I don't know how you could not know, if you're on Clubhouse, Scott's one of the original people with Breakfast of Champions with Glenn.
Absolutely, yes. And Liza's very involved, and Brian Benstock on Clubhouse. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a great platform where you get to surround yourself or expand your circle of influence with all the right people.
It is, yes. You have Glenn Lundy on there from Dan Cummins. You just have so many greats on there that we can all learn from, and it's a free app. All you have to do is listen.
I have established so many good relationships from that app. In fact, I don't want to say it's only because of the app, but Scott and I, first time we talked was after we were on Clubhouse.
Right.
And then we got into some rooms with Grant, and we were on stage because we both know him well. And we just started talking, and it just kind of just grew into a good relationship, and good friendship. So, yeah, all because of that. But that's another example. So, all right, Ben, thank you. I appreciate your time. With me, the one, the only, Jesse Campos, Shell Oil. How you doing, Jesse?
Doing good. It's good seeing you guys again. Thanks for having me.
Always fun, always good business, always great talking with you. Tell us what you're doing now. Tell us what you're doing now with Shell.
Well, I just turned 20 years at Shell, so I'm really excited about that part of
That's
my life.
impressive because you look like you're 32.
I feel like I'm 32. I wish I was 21. But no, for a long time I was in our lubricants part of the business, and I had an opportunity to move over to what's called Shell Fleet Solutions. And in this new role, it's about the future of where the automobile industry is going to move to. There's a lot of press talking about electric vehicles, talking about
a lot of dealers talking about that.
What's the end game? How do you get there? What's the infrastructure looking like? And so, people think of Shell Oil Company as a gasoline, maybe a motor oil from time to time, like Shell Rotella when they think about a heavy-duty engine oil.
Yep.
But Shell has to evolve. And if you've been following the last 18 months, and specifically the pandemic kind of really pushed the business in this direction. What's the future of carbons in the world? Everyone's talking about greenhouse gases and finding new energies. Well, Shell actually has developed a new part of the company called Shell New Energies. And what that's doing is it's helping Shell transform what is primarily a refining, exploration, drilling, production, and finding ways to create an electric, a wind, a solar energy that will propel the OEMs with battery technology, the charge posts. Just like you're charging your iPhone, my friend.
That's where I was going to ask you is all right, so you started off talking about, what's that future look like? Let's put our dealer hat on. What do you see it looking like? Because a lot of dealers are concerned in the sense that, listen, with electric vehicles, there's only so many moving parts.
Right.
There's only so many things they're going to be able to repair, right? So what do you see that looking like in the dealer world?
Well, I'll tell you, you're going to have several moving parts. A parts and service manager, the folks here at MOPAR, they're going to have to figure out what their strategy is going to be. We're one part of this. It's really more around what's the fuel going to look like. In this case, it's going to be battery technology. You're still going to have a level of, differentials, bearings, things that need to be greased to some degree. But you're going to need tires, but you're not going to need possibly a motor oil anymore.
Right.
You're not going to need a grease to some degree, like a high temperature grease or whatever the case may be. It's going to be now, how does a dealer potentially swap out batteries? Is the vehicle that they come out with, is it going to be hybrid? Because that's the new thing right now. A little bit of gas, a little bit of battery, so that maybe the fear factor of not having battery power and being on the side of the road and trying to figure out how to charge, that's going to be the key. But I'll tell you, here's where Shell is investing in the future. It's the technology to help consumers find those charge points. Being able to link fuel cards to maintenance programs such as Shell Maintenance Hub, using Shell Telematics to help operationalize and create the efficiency part of the budget, become more in line with a futuristic automobile.
How many years do you think it'll be where that's the norm and the gas engine is in the big minority?
I'll tell you.
When does it flip?
I'll tell you, I think you'll have companies wanting to flip it in the next 5 years. I think you'll have the next 15.
Anybody in the electric space is going to want to flip it as fast as possible.
Exactly. And I think it's going to come down to several things. Obviously, the political structure of the world we live in today is driving this message. Yeah. So it's forcing companies like Shell Oil Company to create the infrastructure, to partner with the OEMs that want to help move down that path. My friend, it's coming.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. It's one thing to say, well, there's not all the cars that people want yet, or there's some limitations to the vehicle. But that's just 1/10 of really the issue, right? Like you just mentioned, the infrastructure. You've got to make it very convenient and a non-issue for recharging and things such as that.
I would tell you that it's still unknown, but it's coming. The train has already left the station.
Yeah.
If you look at Cadillac, for example, and I know I'm at an FCA MOPAR convention, but if you look at what Cadillac is doing, they have said, we're going to take that brand, just like you've seen the Teslas and the Rivians. They're commanding a premium in the automobile space to say, these are the type of vehicles that are going to move first.
Yeah.
It's all about adoption. Just like when iPhone came out, and I don't want to compare an electric vehicle to an iPhone, but there was a lot, everybody had the StarTechs, the Motorola's of the world. Yeah. They did not want an iPhone. It was foreign to them. Everyone has an iPhone today. So right now, the market is Samsung and iPhone.
Camille's Avenue does not have an iPhone.
I noticed that, it's like McDonald's and Burger King. Somebody wants flame broiled, others don't.
No. I just want to be able to send him a picture in a group text without having to send it 10 to 20 times because it doesn't go through.
I want to be able to FaceTime a guy like Jamil, without question. But no, I will tell you that this industry is going to change. And if the data follows through, you're going to see probably 10 to 20% by 2040 moving to electric vehicles.
Let's talk the front end, because this is what dealers have got to start talking about and really thinking through from a future standpoint, right? So the first thought is, all right, the sales process is going to change. People clearly do most of their shopping and research online now.
Right.
That's already done. COVID probably exaggerated the pace for dealers to adopt to do their digital retailing tool. But now obviously the big move is, customers also want to finish the transaction online. They don't want to just do the research.
Right.
They just want to be able to buy it, be done, and then either come pick it up or have it dropped off. One of the two things. So with knowing that, everybody agrees that's the way that's going. Everyone says, oh, well then the back end will become the front.
Right.
The most important part of the physical part of the dealership is no longer the showroom, it's the service department. But the next wrench that gets thrown into that is the electric vehicles. So if that keeps moving forward, but if it's going to be, it might be a very long time to take over this percentage.
There are 200 million internal combustion vehicles in the marketplace today.
Correct.
But Scott, there are over 10 million vehicles, whether they're a hybrid, electric, or a different fuel source like hydrogen.
Right.
They're in the market today.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. They've got to be serviced.
That's right.
It's only going to be highlighted when more influence is taken on.
The dealer doesn't have as many opportunities to profit on the electric vehicle. And it's one thing to sit there and say, well, they're going to have to find solutions, right? They're going to have to find potential solutions to that. So when the digital retailing thing flips and all of a sudden you've got to put more of an emphasis on service, you make more per dollar anyways. When that happens, and then all of a sudden this big shift, that could start eating away at that as well.
If I'm FCA MOPAR,
that's what I'm at.
There's 2,800 locations.
Yep.
To me, there's 2,800 charge posts at every dealership.
Yep.
And it's at new car sales and it's at parts and service. Because now what's going to happen is they're going to look at the interstates, hotels, gas stations, anyone that's got a piece of land that wants to put a charge post on.
Yep.
Why not car dealerships?
That's right.
So now if I'm a dealer, a principal, a general manager, you're going to see a opportunity for, while the investment is going to be critical, that's how you're going to drive the traffic. Because that's what the name of the game is, about driving traffic. And if there's only so many charge posts landed, That's why that's why the Tesla model is important, because they have charge posts at every dealership.
I mean, for me, I'm just sitting here thinking, all right, if I got to go grocery shopping, and most of our groceries are delivered now, except for the good stuff.
Right.
You know, the stuff that you
live in Louisville, Kentucky. I live in Houston, Texas.
So, paper towels, things like that's all getting delivered, buddy. I don't need to go to a store to buy. Now, steak, vegetables, still going to the store and picking that stuff out, right? All right, so we could have it delivered though, but we don't. We want to trust ourselves on that. All right, so to me, I have a reason to go there and charge, and so that is a natural place. I feel like you'll see the charging stations. So let's take it to the dealership. I like the idea. But if I'm a consumer and now all of a sudden these other places are smart enough to say charging stations are good for us, we probably can make money on them.
We call it charging in the wild right now at the moment.
Yeah, so if that's the case, and eventually those start popping up, why would I do it at a dealership?
Well, that's the beauty of it. You want to be able to own the value chain from end to end.
Yeah.
That's why Tesla.
But if I'm a consumer, why do I want to be in a dealership when I can go to Kroger?
What if I'm a General Motors customer, and all of a sudden I'm running out of charge, and I roll into a MOPAR Chrysler Express lane to charge up? You don't think I might need a wiper blade?
Well, what I'm saying, no, I like that. Now, what I'm saying is, if the Kroger's across the street, I'm going to the Kroger where I can go in and get me something to eat.
Who's going to corner the market at the moment?
Yeah.
Who's going to be there first? That's the name of the game, and that's what the big question is. Who is going to get there first?
The other reason it might be wise to have a charging station at your dealership is just because you buy the car doesn't mean you know how to use it. It doesn't mean you know how to actually even. Some people are transitioning that. It's like any piece of technology. I would think it's pretty easy. You're plugging it in, but
yes, like if you had an electric car at your house, and you plug it in,
I would just have something I'd plug in.
It would take you hours to get maybe 50 miles in your vehicle. Hours, because now you're talking about the type of.
Well, wouldn't you put it in one of those?
No, there's different. Think about your washer and dryer. It's on a completely different. It's on a completely different
why
circuit.
You just put this on that.
You will. There's home chargers.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
How much
It's like solar. It's like solar.
roughly?
It depends.
What's the range?
That's the weird thing. Today, the technology, like a television. Think about a 75-inch television 5 years ago, what that cost, and today, what a 75-inch television costs. It is. We call it charging in the wild. Right now, the costs are through the roof. Tomorrow,
But that's what I'm asking. So let's say I got this electric car. I got to have a home charging station.
Yep.
What's the range and what it costs today? I know it'll come down.
it's thousands. It's expensive.
$1,000.
It's expensive because you're talking about changing your whole how you bring the electricity to your home. Not to mention your own neighborhood network may not be able to support multiple electric vehicles that are rolling into those garages. So it's a stepped balance.
So we've definitely got more than 5 years, because that's a lot of infrastructure.
But there's a lot that you probably here's how I would tell you. You don't drive an electric car today. I'm gonna
but
assume.
I got to tell you something. Every time I'm running late somewhere, that's the one time for whatever reason, I'm low on gas, and it happens at the most inopportune times. And every time I'm like, God, I wish I had an electric vehicle.
Well, here's what I would tell you. Just like you don't have an electric car today, and I'm going to tell you, I think it's going to be a philosophical family change. If you are a family of 5, mom and dad, 3 children, chances of you having an electric vehicle as your only primary vehicle, probably not happening. You're probably going to have an internal combustion engine. Think of the Yukon, the Expedition. You're going to need a family mover. But if you're going to go to work, yeah, you could probably survive an electric vehicle because you can make the balance.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to adoption. There are the early adopters. I got to have it. That's why Tesla, as an example, Rivian, the new trucks that are coming online, as an example, are going to be different. Those are the folks that say, I want to be different. Whether they see it as a social status or not,
Right.
they will find where they got to go charge, where they're going to get their service. When the big three decide to go and mass produce, that's where they need the Shells of the world to come out, and figure out how they're going to charge.
Yeah.
So it's a journey, and it's going to come.
All right. Jesse Campos,
Appreciate the time.
down in Houston, Texas.
It's always a pleasure.
It is.